So, Nlak, Yadikshit, Ninjawa and Squash, Lena Nicholson, Ekin Chulum, Cheat, Nlaka'pamux Assembly. I am the Nlaka'pamux Gene Program Developer, and I am here today to talk to Sumexheltza about Can8. If you could please introduce yourself, Aaron.
Hensauk, Aaron Sumexheltza and Squash, Yadik Shwikchin. My name is Aaron Sumexheltza. Shkihiza, Iona Anderson, Clyde Sampson, Shkadza, and it's an honor to be here today.
Shem. Okay, so Aaron, my first question for you is, why is learning the Nlaka'pamux Gene language important to you?
Thanks for the question. Well, I am Nlaka'pamux, and I believe that learning and understanding our language is so important. As most people know, it was a result of residential school and colonization that our language was taken away from our people. So I believe that we have an obligation to relearn it, and not just for ourselves, but our future generation. I have a young child. He is 15 months old, and I would like him to be fluent and be conversational and be able to speak Nlaka'pamux Gene here in our community and with our other Nlaka'pamux people. So I'm doing everything I can to just speak and learn the language, and I'm using every elders and programs I can so I can continue to learn and use the language myself.
So the next question I have is, how did you find out about Can8 and when did you start using it?
That's a good question. I don't know if I remember exactly how I learned about the program, but I do follow Cheat National Assembly on Facebook. And I also know that they have a website. So I learned about it from being online. And I've also had conversations with you about it. And I've been using it for over a year. I mean, time flies, so it could be up to 2 years. I'm not sure, but it's been a while.
That's true. I think it's been a couple years now. And just to clarify, it's Cheat Nlaka'pamux Assembly, not National Assembly. But thank you for...
Sorry, thank you for that.
Yeah. So yeah, we have it on the website. We also have it on our Facebook page. What do you like the most about the program? What do you think the best features are?
Well, I think there's a lot of great features. One of the best features that I like is that, well, one, I like that there's a lot of stories on there. And so if I want to learn how to say a phrase, what I can do is I can just use my mouse and I could hit the mouse button so I can hear the phrase over and over. So for example, if there was a particular phrase and I wanted to hear it a second or a third or fourth time, I just click my mouse and I just hear it again. And I think one of the great things about it is as well is it's transcribed into the written form. So when you're listening to it, you can also see the written form.
Next question, what do you like the least about it?
Well, I think there's a lot of great features, but if I had to pick one thing that I don't like about it is that it doesn't have a search option yet. If you're looking for a particular word or a particular phrase, you have to navigate through, for lack of a better word, like the table of contents, from the table of contents.
So how did you find the process for accessing Can8, like the download and installation and getting your login information?
It was really easy. I mean, I had a conversation with you about it. And I believe what I did was I sent you an email and expressed my interest in the program. And you were very prompt in responding, and you sent me a username and a password. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I must have downloaded the program and then installed it, and then I just put in my username and password and logged in, and that's all I did, right? And so when I've used the program over the last couple of years, it's already on my computer, so I just log in and start listening and learning.
How often do you use Can8? Is it daily or weekly? And for how long do you figure you go on there in one sitting?
I think I'm very sporadic, but I mean, there's some times where I may not use it for days or weeks. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll go on there and I'll use it every day. It just really depends on maybe my work schedule, how busy I am, or how dedicated I am. But the nice thing about it is you can use it whenever you want.
Do you use the listen and record features? Well, obviously, like you listen to it, but do you record your voice as well in the system?
I don't. I've never used the record feature.
Okay. How about sharing? Have you shared what you learn with others?
Oh, definitely. I talk to people about the program when I talk about learning the language. Often I'm really lucky here where I live because my mother, she lives downstairs, Iona Anderson, and I think she's really valuable in that when I say a phrase, she'll often kind of validate what I've said by either helping me with the pronunciation, or I'll ask her for example, am I saying this right? Right? So, yeah.
That's really fortunate for you that your mom's there, that she can provide that kind of feedback to you. It just came up something that I've thought about too. Another question kind of stemming from that recording feature or any of the work, because there's multiple choice questions in there as well. So do you think if the work was getting reviewed, if you were getting feedback from elder speakers of the language, would that be helpful?
Definitely. I use the online resources to learn the language, but for me to be able to speak the language at a level where other community members can understand me, it's important for me to get feedback from elders whenever I can.
So I think the next question is, what advice would you give to new learners?
Well, I think just generally, I think repetition is really important. I think in terms of learning the language, I think not worry about whether you have the pronunciation correct or not. We're all learning, and it's okay to make mistakes. And I'd encourage people to use the language when they're around community members and other speakers, because it creates an opportunity for you to get feedback in the way you speak the language and in your pronunciation. In terms of the program, Can8 program, I think it has a lot of information, whether it be words or sounds or sentences. And so I think there's an opportunity there to, if you're a beginner, for example, to start out with some of the sounds and the words. If one does that, and you go back and you listen again and again and again, hopefully, you'll have a whole bunch of words under your belt and you can start using them when you speak to community members.
Do you have any suggestions for the layout or organization in Can8?
I think it's pretty easy to navigate, so I don't have any specific suggestions in terms of the layout.
Do you have suggestions for improving the system, or maybe on how to incorporate new material? Like when new content is being added, are you aware of that?
I'm aware of it. I'm aware of when there's new materials. And one of the programs that I didn't mention that I haven't talked about today is the SoundCloud. And I know Nlaka'pamux Assembly uses SoundCloud as well. In terms of other materials, and I know it's difficult maybe to do this, but on First Voices, they have a lot of words and phrases, and then they obviously have some on CNA as well. But I think I would like to see more material, and there is some on the CNA website already, but for more conversational kind of, many people know how to say handlauk, yakunklo, but extending the conversation to say, oh, I've been going to the grocery store. Maybe some of that could be good. One of the other things I would say is I would like to see more phrases specific to talking about or asking questions in the third person. So say John is doing this, or Wendy is doing that, or she is doing this, or what is this person doing, or what is she doing, what is he doing. There's not a lot of that. So it's about, there's a lot about what are you doing? I am doing this, but there's not a lot of third party or third person kind of discussion and questions. So I think it's about also, and it's difficult and it takes a lot of time, identifying words and phrases that are not accessible to Nlaka'pamux people to hear, and trying to put those online so people can learn those as well. So I guess more intermediate kind of phrases that people would use on everyday language versus just intro stuff, which is, there's a lot of stuff out there for that.
So what other resources do you use to help you with learning the language?
I use, well, online resources. I do use the SoundCloud program, and I use the Can8 program. I also use First Voices program. In terms of written materials, I use the dictionary. I also use it's the Red Book. You could probably help me with that one, with all the stories in it.
Thompson River Speech, I think it's called, or something.
Yeah, I use that. I also, just personally, I have some recordings from my grandmother, Mary Anderson, of stories that she's told. So I've been really fortunate that I've been translating of that with my mother, for example. So I listen to those. Yeah, and some, whatever I can get my hands on, I try to get. And then what I do is I listen to as much as I can, and I transcribe what I can with the help of my mother. And if I go for walks, I listen, for example. So I do whatever I can, and whatever, especially audio recordings, is really helpful. And yeah, so, and I talk to my family members, whether it be, and some elders sometimes, but I have some aunts, my Auntie Lorna Sterling, my Auntie Cherdine, my Auntie Judy, my Auntie Marie. I talk to them often, not on a regular basis, and try to record and get phrases from them.
Very lucky to have all those people in your life to help you with the language.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have so much resources, but I think a lot of us have people we could talk to. I know some of us might be shy, right? But I think, a lot of elders who live in our communities, many of them, especially during these COVID times, would welcome a phone call, right? And call them up. And I would encourage people to call elders up or speakers up and have a conversation and have a visit. And I think also they would be more than happy to, if you had to say, how do you say this word? Or how do you say this? How do you say this sentence? That most elders would be more than happy to share that with people. And they'd be more than happy to have a conversation and have a visit with you if you took some initiative and made a phone call. Yeah, I would like to add one thing, and I would just like to say that I am really happy that the Can8 program is available and that it's open for all Nlaka'pamux people to use it. It's been a really valuable to me and my family in learning new words and new phrases that I can use with my son and my wife. Yeah, I'm just so excited about the program, and I really do encourage and hope that others will take the initiative and use the program as well, because I don't want to see it go anywhere. And so I just wanted to acknowledge, well, the work that you do and the work that the leadership has done to make the program available to others. And I hope that more people will use the program. When people do, I think that hopefully we'll be able to have more conversations amongst our own people here in our territory. So thank you for connecting with me, and I appreciate you asking me some questions about the program, and I am a big supporter of it.
Okay. Well, Kuksjem, Nam Kuksjem, for taking the time from your day to talk about that, the program with us today.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And yeah, and thanks for all the great work that you do. And I know Will does as well. I know you guys are working really hard, And I see your YouTube videos with your word of the day and all that as well. So yeah, great work, you guys. And yeah, I'll do whatever I can to support it. So
yeah, awesome.
okay, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Homesh.
Homas, ja, das liegt.
Okay. Bye.